Right now you are touching your chair, you feel it, you are certain of it, your hands are resting on something solid, your feet are on the floor, the world feels real and firm and close. That feeling is a lie, not a small lie, not a technicality, a fundamental physics-proven, universe-wide lie that has been true since the first atom formed and will be true until the last star dies. You have never, not once, not ever, touched a single thing in your life. There are 4 specific walls between you and the universe, 4 absolute verdicts that physics has handed down, and by the time we reach the 4th one, the word touch will mean something completely different to you than it does right now. Humans have been asking about the nature of matter for a very long time. About 2,500 years ago, a Greek thinker named Democritus sat down and asked a simple question. If you take a piece of cheese and cut it in half, then cut that half in half, then keep cutting, where does it stop? He decided it had to stop somewhere. He called that final unbreakable piece the atomos, the uncuttable thing. He was right that there was something small. He was wrong about almost everything else. For the next 2,000 years, humans thought matter was like a stack of tiny, solid marbles, small marbles, invisible marbles. But marbles, solid things that pressed against other solid things. When you touched a table, your marble hand was pressing against the table's marble surface. Simple, satisfying, wrong. Then came the 1800s, then the 1900s, then a series of experiments so strange that the scientists running them refused to believe their own results. Ernest Rutherford fired particles at a sheet of gold foil and expected them to pass straight through. Most did, but some bounced straight back. He later said it was like firing artillery shells at tissue paper and having them come back and hit you. That moment changed everything. The solid world cracked open. What they found was this: the marble is almost entirely empty. Not mostly empty, not a little bit hollow, almost entirely, completely, staggeringly empty. The atom, that building block of everything you have ever touched, tasted, loved, or feared, is more empty than the space between stars. If you took all the actual matter out of all the atoms in every human being on Earth and pressed it together, it would fit inside a single sugar cube. Every one of the 8 billion people on this planet. One sugar cube. And that is only the first wall. Imagine the nucleus of an atom, the tiny dense center, so as a single grain of rice. One grain of rice sitting in the middle of a football stadium. The electrons, those tiny particles orbiting the nucleus, are somewhere in the outermost seats of that stadium. Between the grain of rice and the seats, nothing. Empty space. A vast, silent, invisible emptiness. That is what you are made of. That is what your chair is made of. That is what everything is made of. When you press your hand against a table, you are not pressing solid against solid. You are pressing a mostly empty structure against another mostly empty structure. The space inside your hand overlaps with the space inside the table, like 2 ghost stadiums trying to pass through each other. But you say, I can feel the table. There is resistance. My hand does not pass through the wood. So something is happening, something is making contact. You are right, something is happening, but it is not touching. That brings us to the second wall. Here is what is actually happening when you press your hand on a table. Your hand is made of atoms, and those atoms have electrons orbiting their outer edges. The table is also made of atoms with electrons orbiting their outer edges. When your hand gets close to the table, those outer electrons get close to each other. And electrons hate each other, and they carry a negative electric charge. And like charges repel, The closer they get, the harder they push back. So what you feel as touch is not contact. It is a wall of electromagnetic force. It is two armies of electrons screaming at each other across a tiny gap. The electrons of your hand never actually meet the electrons of the table. They get close. They push back. You feel it as pressure. That pressure, that firmness, that solid feeling under your palm, that is not contact. That is rejection. Think of it this way. Imagine holding two magnets together, same pole to same pole. You feel resistance. You feel something solid in your hands. But the magnets never touch. The field between them is doing all the work. That is what every single human being who has ever lived has felt when they thought they were touching something. A field, not a surface. Now think about every handshake ever made, every mother who held a newborn child, every person who pressed their palm against the cold glass of a window on a winter morning, every lover, every friend, every stranger whose hand you briefly touched in passing. None of them were touching, all of them were feeling a force, a push, an invisible wall of electrical energy that their brain translated into warmth, into connection, into love. We have been feeling electricity our entire lives and calling it closeness. But maybe you think we could find a way around the electrons. Maybe at a deeper level, something actually makes contact. It gets worse. That brings us to the third wall. You might imagine that if we go small enough, smaller than atoms, smaller than electrons, down to the level of quarks and quantum fields, we will eventually find two things actually pressing against each other. Solid thing meets solid thing. Contact, real touch. But at the quantum level, the word solid stops meaning anything. A particle is not a tiny marble sitting in a specific place. It is a probability cloud, a smear of likelihood across space. The electron is not here or there. It is everywhere it might possibly be, all at once, until something measures it. This is not philosophy. This is the most tested, most confirmed, most precisely accurate theory in the history of science. Quantum mechanics. It makes predictions accurate to 1 part in 10 billion, and what it tells you is this: the things that make up matter do not have hard edges, they have fuzzy borders, probability gradients, wave functions that blend into the space around them. So when your hand approaches the table and those electrons push back, those electrons are not sharp little spheres. They are blurred, smeared, spread across a region of space. Their edges are not edges at all. They are just places where the probability of the electron being there gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but never technically reaches zero. Technically, a small part of the electron in your fingertip is inside the moon right now. A very, very, very small part, but not zero. There are no hard surfaces. There are no clean edges. There is no point at which you can say, this is where my hand ends and the table begins. There is only a gradual fading of one probability cloud into another. You don't touch the table. You overlap with it slightly, like two pieces of fog drifting together in the early morning. This means something strange. You're not a solid object moving through a solid world. You are a pattern, a temporary arrangement of probability clouds that has learned to think. The chair beneath you is not supporting a solid body. It is one pattern of clouds pushing against another pattern of clouds, and the force between them is what you call sitting. Your body has no hard boundary. It bleeds into the air around it. The air bleeds into you. Right now, at the quantum level, you and the room you are sitting in are gently, continuously, imperceptibly merging at your edges. But let's say we accept all of this. Let's say we make peace with empty atoms and electron repulsion and probability clouds. Is there something even deeper? One final wall? There is, and almost no one talks about it. Here is the wall no one sees coming. Even if we solved every physics problem, even if somehow two particles could make true, clean, hard contact, you would just, you would still never experience it. When your hand touches a table, a signal travels from the nerve endings in your fingertips up through your arm, through your spinal cord to your brain. That journey takes time. It is fast, but it is not instant. The signal travels at roughly 70 meters per second. Your brain processes the information and constructs the experience of touching. By the time you feel the touch, the event is already in the past. You are not experiencing the present. You are experiencing a model of the recent past, constructed by your brain from incoming signals, filled in with predictions and assumptions, smoothed over with memory and expectation. Your conscious experience lags behind physical reality by somewhere between 80 and 500 milliseconds. Think of it this way. Imagine watching a live sporting event on television with a 3-second delay. You think you are watching it live. You feel like you are there, but you are watching a recording of 3 seconds ago. Everything you call now is already history. And here is the deeper part, the part that changes everything. The touch you feel, your brain constructs it. Your brain takes the raw incoming signals, the pressure, temperature, vibration, and it builds an experience of touch from those ingredients. The sensation is not coming from the table. The sensation is being manufactured inside your skull. The table is just providing the data. You are not touching the table. Your brain is telling you a story about data that arrived from near the table. Think about what this means for every meaningful touch in your life. When you held someone's hand at their worst moment, when a parent stroked your hair, when you were sick as a child, when you felt the warmth of another person and believed completely that you were close to them. None of those sensations came from outside you. They were all built inside your brain, from signals, from electrical pulses traveling up nerve fibers at 70 meters per second. The warmth you felt was real. The closeness you felt was real, but it was made entirely inside your own mind from data the world sent you. You were alone in there, building the experience of not being alone. The story is incredibly useful. It has kept our species alive for hundreds of thousands of years. But it is a story, and every single human being who has ever lived, from the first child who picked up a stone to the last person who will ever hold another person's hand, every one of them has lived entirely inside that story, never once making true contact with the physical world that surrounded them. We are small. We live on a pale blue dot orbiting an unremarkable star in the outer arm of one galaxy among 2 trillion. The nearest other star is 4.24 light years away. At the fastest speed any human object has ever traveled, it would take 6,600 years to get there. If you had left when the pyramids were first being built, you would be arriving right now in the star, and you still would not have left this galaxy, not even close. When we are made of atoms that are mostly empty, we see with light that is always slightly old. We feel with nerves that are always slightly slow. We live inside a model of reality that our brains construct second to second from incomplete data, always a little behind, always a little approximated. We do not touch the world. We ghost through it, reading signals, building stories, calling the stories real. And here is the thing. Here is the thing that physics does not tell you, but Carl Sagan always understood. That makes you extraordinary. You are a collection of atoms, empty, buzzing, probabilistic atoms that somehow became aware of its own emptiness. You are the universe looking at itself, realizing it cannot even touch itself, and finding that beautiful. No rock does this. No star does this. No galaxy spinning silently in the dark does this. Only you. You cannot touch anything. and yet you reach out anyway, you hold hands anyway, you feel warmth anyway, you call it love anyway. You build cities and write poetry and look up at the sky and ask questions anyway. Then the universe made something that knows it is alone and keeps reaching. And that is not a tragedy. That is the most remarkable thing that has ever happened in 13.8 billion years of cosmic history. Keep looking up and keep reaching, even if you never quite make contact.